Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 7th annual Cyber Hygiene. And this year we've added AI awareness to it. I apologize for being late. Anyone who knows me knows I do a countdown of 1 minute to start, 30 seconds, and 15 seconds. Well, we did that 15 minutes before, and lo and behold, I had some technical difficulties getting in for the particular browser that I was using. So we're beyond that, but we're excited about the lineup we have tonight. I want to thank Congressman Langevin, and we still call him Congressman, even though he's not a congressman anymore, but we're certainly glad he's with us as a national leader in cybersecurity. So let me tell you a little bit about our agenda for tonight. And before we get into that, just a couple of thanks. So Ben, thank you very much. This is the 7th annual Cybersecurity and AI Awareness event. We've done this over the last 6 years, and as you might imagine, this will be the 7th one. We've done it virtually. This year is virtual. We've done it in person over the last several years. And I want to thank our excellent selection of briefers that you'll have coming up. I do want to thank the attendees that are here tonight. And the focus of our briefing tonight is about protecting yourself, your family, your identity, and your data. And then we have a special segment tonight with a PhD candidate from Brown University about demystifying AI. I know there's going to be questions throughout the session. We ask you to put your questions in the comment section. Ben Barber, who is producing this for us, will go through the questions at the end and filter those questions to the appropriate individuals. The presentations that you're seeing tonight will be made available in the next day or so. We'll get a note out on Facebook and Twitter, or X, should I say, about where they're located. So you can go get those if you like to see them. And as it says, why are we here tonight, and why have we done this for the last 6 to 7 years? And it's really the same objective and purpose. We're all well aware of the increasing number of cyber breaches where computer systems, including just about anything connected to the Ethernet, connection, they've been compromised, exposing ourselves and our information, our identification, and our data, thus making us all vulnerable to exploitation and with the real potential for loss of data. Now more than ever, and we've been saying this every year, and every year it becomes more critical, there's an ever-increasing need to practice cyber-safe habits. Ben, if we go to the next slide. Quickly, what's our agenda? I've just done the welcome and the purpose. I wanted to be brief. I'm hoping that was the case. Coming up next will be Rhode Island College Institute. Will be Honorable James Langevin, former Congressman Langevin, the distinguished chair. He'll talk about the Rhode Island College Institute for Cybersecurity and Emerging Technologies. That will be followed by Nathan Lauro, who's sort of still in his honeymoon period with the state of Rhode Island. He's only been with us 8 weeks. Now soon will be over. He's Rhode Island's Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO. He'll talk about enhancing personal cyber hygiene in a digital age. That will be followed by Nazazin Amati Dayakanar, who is a biomedical and engineering PhD candidate at Brown University. Nazanin, I hope I didn't butcher your name too bad. I hope I got most of it correct. We're glad she's with us tonight. She'll give us a segment about demystifying AI and what we've been hearing quite a bit about as of recent, as it relates to things like Chat GPT, which is a form of generative AI. And what we'll do is we'll do questions at the very end. I promise you'll be out of here. Our goal is 8 o'clock. Most likely it's going to be the 8:15 time frame. We'll lose in that last 15 minutes for any questions and answers that might be there. So Ben, I'd like to turn it over to Honorable Congressman Jim Langevin. Congressman, over to you.
Senator, good evening, and good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here tonight with Senator DiPalma, and I thank him for inviting me to participate in the 7th annual cyber event, where he's working hard to educate his constituents about the importance of protecting yourself online, practicing good cyber hygiene, and we all have a role to play in ensuring stronger cybersecurity. And I'm glad to be able to participate once again. You know, I've often said, and by the way, I want to also recognize our other two special guests, Nathan and Nazanin. You're going to hear some great important points from them this evening as well. But I've often said that cybersecurity is not just a one and done type of thing. It's an ongoing thing that we need to continue to do, practice good cyber hygiene to protect ourselves and others online. I've often said we need a public awareness campaign in along the lines of the Smokey the Bear campaign, where you can prevent forest fires, well, only you can prevent cyber intrusions. So to Senator DiPalma, I just salute you once again. Thank you for paying such close attention to this issue and working hard to make sure that your constituents are educated about the importance of practicing good cyber hygiene and other things to keep safe online. So it's going to be a great program tonight. I'm going to talk briefly about cyber hygiene, but then also, most importantly, I want to talk about the exciting things we're doing at Rhode Island College. So, as I've said many times in the past, there's several steps that you all can take to protect yourselves and your families online, and some of them just by practicing these basic steps will go a long way toward preventing cyber intrusions, preventing your a bad actor from getting onto your computer and potentially freezing it up, stealing your personal data, doing anything that's going to, a number of things that is going to compromise your ability to use your computer or be online. First and foremost is practicing having strong and unique passwords. Always using strong, unique passwords prevent someone from guessing your password and being able to get in. Next, and this is a big one, enabling two-factor authentication. This is, wherever possible, make sure you activate two-factor authentication, especially anything to do with your financial information. That's basically, this is it adds an extra layer of security by requiring you to provide an additional verification step, such as a code, a one-time code that will be sent to your phone along with using your password. This is definitely going to prevent someone from getting in, because even if they get your password, your username and password, that one-time code is going to be sent to you to, say, your phone that you would presumably have on your person. And so even if a person has your username and password, if they don't have your phone with them, they're not going to get that code sent to them, and they're not going to be able to get into to your banking account or any other account that you have that has two-factor authentication enabled. Keeping strong software, keeping your software up to date is absolutely essential. Really important to run the most up-to-date software, because that is using old software and not patching the new, not using the new software means that you're running, say, with your doors and windows open. There's someone that's trying to break into your house. Basically, it's allowing them free access. When you do more updated software and close the security patches, that's like all the doors and windows have been locked that were previously open, and you're using the new software that is making sure that again the doors and windows are locked and the bad actors can't get in. Then of course there's being cautious with email and attachments. Not clicking on attachments from people you don't know, and make sure you're hovering around the URL, the from, who's sending the. Make sure that it's a known address that you recognize. Obviously, be mindful of social media and online sharing. That's a big one. You want to make sure that you're, for example, even when you're on vacation, people like to post photos and things like that. I highly recommend that you do that when you get home, not at the time, because you're just advertising to the world that you're not home. You're at a different location, and you're inviting potentially trouble if you're letting people know that you're out of town or you're at another location that you wouldn't otherwise be, and telling people that you're not home. Regularly back up your data. That's another big one, and then educate yourself about common threats. Remember, practicing good cyber hygiene is an ongoing effort. By following these steps and staying vigilant, you can significantly reduce the risk of falling victim to cyber attacks. So I know that our other guests are going to be talking about this tonight too. My most important part for my presentation here tonight is to also talk about what we're doing at Rhode Island College. Rhode Island College, my alma mater, graduated there in 1990 with a degree in political science, public administration, and a minor in economics. I'm back there once again, but this time setting up this new institute on cyber and emerging technologies. We're looking to educate the next generation of cyber defenders. Such an important topic right now, and there are over 500,000 jobs that right now go unfilled. That's thousands of jobs right here in Rhode Island that go unfilled in cybersecurity. And we need to do a better job of educating the next generation of cyber defenders so that they're there to do the jobs that are needed to keep us all safe online, keep our businesses safe online, keep our families safe online. All of these things are just multi-level important, and we want to make sure that we have enough people to do the jobs that we need done in cybersecurity. And by the way, when our young people who go through this program graduate with a degree in cybersecurity, they're going to very likely potentially be entering a job that pays a six-figure salary. So we are going to be kicking off the official start of the institute in the first part of November. But we're already teaching classes at Rhode Island College with its certificate programs in cybersecurity, a minor in cybersecurity, and a new major in cybersecurity, and soon to have a degree in artificial intelligence as well. So a lot of exciting things going on at Rhode Island College. I hope that for those of you that are, especially young people that might be watching tonight, or if you have kids that are thinking about what they're going to do once they graduate from high school, hopefully they'll think about a career in cybersecurity and other areas of emerging technologies, because it can lead to a good paying job. And it's obviously these are jobs that society really needs to be done now. So check us out at Rhode Island College. It's the new Institute on Cyber and Emerging Technologies. I serve as the privilege of serving as the distinguished chair, and I'm excited about great things to come. But Senator, I'll pause there, and thank you again for having me on the program tonight.
Congressman, thank you very much for all you're doing, all you have done, and all you will be doing to advance the technology and educate the future workforce at Rhode Island College. It's critically important. Look forward to the excellent work coming out of the continuing to come out of the college. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Nathan Laurel, the Rhode Island's CISO, our Chief Information Security Officer. Nathan, over to you. And welcome to Rhode Island, and the honeymoon period will be over soon.
Thank you, Senator DiPalma, and appreciate Congressman Langevin, always a voice of the people. Covered a lot of material today, so it's going to make my job so much easier. So Ben, can you pull up the presentation if you don't mind? Thank you. So today I'm going to cover some of the cyber hygiene stuff. You'll see that I do rehash some of the items that the Congressman talked about, but I am going to add a few more things here. So Ben, next slide, please. So first question is, who am I and why should you listen to me about cyber hygiene? So as Senator DiPalma said, I am newly hired to the state. I have over 15 years of information technology and security experience. I've worked across many industries, finance, health, food chain supply, technology. I've also worked for a global management strategic consulting firm on the public sector for the federal side with some like managing controlled unclassified information. And I have worked in finance and with a lot of Rhode Island companies as well. So I am a Rhode Island native, born and raised here. One thing I've also done is I've spent 2 decades with the Rhode Island Air National Guard. So I worked with a local combat comm and part of the state's network warfare squadron. So I do have a public sector and private sector and defense sector background. Next slide, please, Ben. So as the Congressman explained, what is cyber hygiene? At a very short, cyber hygiene is the same thing as you wash your hands, you lock your doors, you're protecting yourself, your assets. Cyber hygiene is that same type of practice, but you're protecting yourself online, your digital presence, if you will. And why is it really important? The big reason behind it, it's just essential. We live in an ever-connected world, and you have to be aware of your digital presence as well. One of the big risks that I will kind of discussed throughout the entire presentation is that you have a digital identity and it's very connected. So one slip up in your digital identity could give access to a lot of other unintended applications and digital products. Next slide, please. So once again, the basics of hygiene, strong passwords. So you want to have a unique and very strong password. I also recommend a practice of rotating your passwords. So as the Congressman had mentioned, you want to have characters, special characters, numbers. You want to use upper and lowercase to kind of make it less susceptible to being cracked. But what I like to enrich in this discussion is rotating your passwords. And what I mean by that is every so often, maybe once a year, go in and just change the password just to change the password. Adding that layer of rotating in a cycle just makes it that much more difficult for someone to crack your password. I know this can sound like a hassle, so what I always recommend are password managers. And now with using any type of security application like that, there is a little bit of a risk, but I think the risk is worth the convenience of letting the password manager manage the password for you. So when I mention a password manager, what I mean is an application like on your iPhone, you have a password vault, where when you go to log in, you can set a username and use a suggested password that uses a ton of characters, different types of characters, randomly generated. And by using a different password for every one of your accounts, you make it that much harder to gain access or pivot by using the same password. Next slide, please. One thing that was also discussed is two-factor authentication. So two-factor authentication is just an evolution going beyond your typical username and password. So in this practice, you're going to enter your username, you'll enter your password, you'll click to log in, and you'll get a prompt, like you can see in the middle photo, that will ask, is this you or not you? That's typically called a push. So when you set that push, you'll be able to log in. You could also use a code where you'd have to add a code. You can see on the left side, that's the Microsoft Authenticator. And on the right side, that's the Google Authenticator. They offer codes, also free applications to use. So you're probably familiar with this already. Like typically when you log into your bank, you'll add your username, password, and it will send you a text message with a code to add. Once you put that code in, you'll be allowed access to the site. Now, why that's important is someone can steal your username and password, go to log in, but without that second factor of authentication, having that information is useless. Until they get to that second factor of authentication, they can't do anything as you. So it's a layer to protect yourself. It also gives you some visibility when you see that someone's trying to log into your account. It gives you the opportunity to go back and change username or password to kind of protect yourself before the bad stuff happens. Next slide, please, Ben. As we mentioned also before, keeping your software up to date. So this is more on your device side of the protection, but software update and patching, it can be done automatically. I recommend it. Keeping your stuff up to date just means that you're not susceptible to bugs that are found, or exploits, as they like to call them, that exist in the wild. One example I use in this slide is in 2017, and I know that seems like a different part of history, being pre-pandemic. There was what I call the first ransomware attack that kind of woke up the world to it, but the WannaCry ransomware attack. It could have been mitigated by a simple patching of software if it was up to date. So you can see how important that is right there as well. So Ben, next slide. Also on keeping your assets safe. So these are three topics that you can kind of take as a practice. Antivirus software is big. So not only updating your software applications on your computer, but updating the antivirus as well. Antiviruses run in the background. They'll pull new, what they call definitions. Those definitions allow them to see new and emerging viruses and threats to your machine. So if you keep that up to date, you can keep up with new stuff coming out, and it can help protect your computer in the background. Now, the Internet of Things. So, just kind of be aware of Internet of Things. A lot of homes have them. You have a Google Home. You'll have an Apple HomePod with Siri. You may have an Amazon Alexa device. You could have a Nest thermometer or a Wi-Fi connected thermometer. You may also have a Ring security system. All this connects through the Wi-Fi, and these are devices that can be used to gain access to a network. So what I recommend here to reduce your risk is just do research before you buy a product. Sometimes something may be cheap and very convenient, but also that might mean that it's less secure. Sometimes when a device is very, very cheap, and it comes from a manufacturer that's from an international country, they may value connection and convenience over security. And once you connect that device on your home into your Wi-Fi, that now becomes an entry point for an attacker to go from that device, compromise it, and maybe get access to other devices on your network. So always, please do your research before adding some of these convenience items as well. Lastly, one thing to keep your assets safe is public Wi-Fi. So just be cautious of using public Wi-Fi. So I know in the chat, I did see a comment around VPN. So that is something you'd like to use when you're out. So a VPN is a virtual private network. What that does is between your device and the VPN destination, it just creates an encrypted tunnel to block your traffic from being visible to other people. That's a great thing to use on public Wi-Fi's because it helps keep your information, and from being exposed. But also in public Wi-Fi's, one thing to be aware of is to just check what you're connecting to. You may connect from a coffee shop, and in that coffee shop, there may be two Wi-Fi's of the same name or similar names, maybe one character flipped. Typically what that is a rogue wireless access point that people are trying to get you to connect to, so they may see your data. Next slide, please. So the big one that I'm going to hit is phishing attacks, because this is probably the most common thing to watch out for. So when it comes to phishing attacks, the key is having healthy skepticism. So as you can see in the examples, most of us here have seen an email that comes from some sort of organization that's pressuring us to respond with a FaceTime verification, or you can see the example from the text message that's saying your account's going to be closed out. Often they try to make things seem legitimate. They have links that seem close enough that they could be it. But the key here is you want to check the sender's email address, right? So in the example up top, if you can see the from is domain@domainname.com. Typically, that's a red flag there as well. It's also a red flag that the National Security Department wants to perform a valid verification via FaceTime. Usually that means that that link is going to be invalid. You want to examine the content of the messages. So taking a look through that message, you'd see that words are misspelled. It's very weird that it is FaceTime. There's some other red flags there as well. Once you see that, if you see grammatical errors, awkward phrasing, or like even a sense of urgency compelling you to act immediately, red flag, don't answer that message. Lastly, as a congressman said, hover over your links, but do not click. Just hover over the link, and you can see by moving your mouse cursor over what the link is. So sometimes they'll have like a FaceTime verification button, or they'll use a shortened link that doesn't really say anything. But if you hover over, you can see the destination. And if it's very suspicious looking, that's a red flag. Do not click that link. Next slide, please. So because this is important, I'm going to walk us through a typical phishing attack. So the way a phishing attack, as we know, it can start with a message that you receive here. So here's a couple examples. The first one is about a package that you would receive that you have to pay taxes on. Typically, you would not be contacted in this manner, but they're trying to give that sense of urgency to say, hey, you have this item, but you have an outstanding balance. You got to pay this. The middle one is someone reaching out, talking about back pain sleeping issues, and just saying like, hey, check this out. Like, it seems like just nothing more than an advertisement. And the third one is that a local pharmacy that you may be using, asking about a survey and saying, hey, you'll get $100 if you complete this survey by this date. What they're doing here is trying to create a sense of urgency, trying to entice you to click on this link. Next slide, please, Ben. When you click on this link, it usually brings you to what's called a landing page. This landing page is a simple sign-on page. So to the average eye, this looks like a legitimate Microsoft sign-in page. But if you take a look at the top of the bar there by the green lock, you'll see that even though it says HTTPS and it's secure, it's a web link that does not have anything to do with any of those text messages. So what the attacker is trying to do here is to give you the sense of confidence that this is a Microsoft and a legitimate sign-in site. So you would put in your email, click next, and then on the next screen, you would be presented with a password prompt. You put your password prompt on and hit submit. You may be directed to a correct website, but what you've done now is given the attacker your username and password. Ben, next link, please. And now the downside is once this attacker in the red there gets access to your username and password, one of the reasons I say use a unique password and don't use the same password across sites is they'll try to use your username and password to log into your financial institutions. They'll also try to get access to your email. Reason they'll get access to your email is they can get access to maybe those one-time passwords if you send them to email, or they can see messages to see accounts that you've received. So you get a notice from, hey, this person sent you a Facebook message. They now know you have a Facebook account if they have access to your email. They can also send emails on your behalf to friends and family that seem legitimate. Lastly, they'll try to get access to your social media accounts. Again, that's just to expand their scope to your friends and family as well on the attack. Next slide, Ben. So the last thing here, so I won't cover too much into this because we do have an expert here. So the PhD candidate, Madi, will go into the nitty gritty of this. So I'll just touch on what the risks are to the individuals. So AI presents sort of a data protection challenge when it comes to the average user. One of the risks is that AI will use a vast amount of data. A lot of free AI tools use the data that you input into these tools to train their models or to get built into their data corpus or structures. So one thing you need to do when you protect yourself is when you're using a free AI tool, try to read the compliance data, try to do some research on the tool because you don't know what type of data they're going to pull. So you may be able to go into ChatGPT, you'll type in personal information. I know there are some use cases of people using these tools to help with health diagnoses. But when you start putting that information in, it now becomes a part of that model. Or if there's a breach, it could be made public. So you just got to be careful and just kind of do some governance around what data you're going to share and just be aware to read what the tool does. I'll give you an example that could help you when it comes to your employment. There's a lot of AI tools that are digital assistants or meeting attendees where you can kind of just click in a Zoom. It's just a click yes. Doesn't install anything on the local machine, but what happens is this AI bot will now attend meetings and they'll transcribe your meetings. They'll send out emails on your behalf, which is a wonderful, wonderful tool to be efficient and productive. The downside is anything you discuss in that meeting or anything you discuss for your company that may be proprietary now exists in the cloud under that AI tool's hosting. So that could be a serious risk to yourself, serious risk to your company that may result in some sort of consequence. So you just got to be aware of what you're signing up for. Lastly, deepfake technology. If you could, thanks, Ben. Deepfake technology. There's a huge risk here on just misinformation. So one of the things is these deepfakes and some of these AI technologies, a lower barrier of entry to make really good fake information or attack content. So they're very convincing. Sometimes they use AI generated voices to sound like family members that may be in distress. So just kind of be skeptical of these situations and make sure that if something comes from a family member or if you see a video from someone, please ensure that you validate with that individual before offering any money or anything like that as well, or doing a wire transfer. Just protect yourself and be skeptical. Next slide, please, Ben. So lastly, the best thing you can do is educate yourself and stay informed. So here's some of the resources that you can use. So the Rhode Island Office of Library Information Services, which coincidentally used to be Rhode Island's original IT department, has a portal, askiri.org, that offers numerous free education services to all Rhode Islanders that's under that office that I mentioned, OLIS. The big thing is they have a tool called Udemy. All you need to do is be a Rhode Island resident and have a library card, and you get full access to this database. This is an incredible tool. A lot of companies use it for their IT and cybersecurity training. It covers all topics from basic cybersecurity hygiene to network security. You can even start getting down classes to talk about cloud security and really, really advanced topics, even prepare you for certifications. And it's free to all Rhode Island residents. With a library card. So that's a great resource to take advantage of. You can also take a look at conferences and workshops, meaning like summits like like this as well. Always check out the Rhode Island General Assembly press release page. You'll cover summits like this, but also you can go to the Rhode Island ETSS site, which is that top link there. So that's actually the department I'm from. It's called Enterprise Technology Strategy and Services. We offer cybersecurity summits, and sometimes we like to update information that's available as well. One thing I do want to hit on here too, as far as constituents go, some of you may work for local government or have family members in local government. Part of what my office does is I chair the state and local cyber grant program committee here. So myself and the chief digital officer for the state, we wrote a plan to kind of help secure some funding that will go to local municipalities, cities, and towns, focusing on rural communities as well, to kind of up their cybersecurity and work on their posture. This grant is a federal grant. As a senator and representatives for our state are on the federal side, they've worked to kind of offer this money out, and we'll be working to get that to our state and our local cities and towns. So that's a great program. We try to keep updates up there as well. And we do have open meetings, so please feel free to look up that information. Lastly, just stay up to date with news sources. So I've added some links here: the Wall Street Journal, Cybersecurity, Hacker News, Tripwire, State of Security, and Wired is the security side, are great sites to stay in touch with everything and stay ahead of the game. And also just kind of learn some things if you're ever bored. If you use X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, there's Krebs on Security. There's also the CISA organization from the government. And then Jen Easterly is a wonderful contact that can help you with cyber hygiene and just cyber incidents in general. So that's all I had. So I'll toss it back to Senator DiPalma. And thank you, everybody, for your time. Appreciate it.
Nathan, thank you very much. Well done as expected, and we're fortunate and glad you are where you are as the CISO for the state of Rhode Island. So thank you very much. I now want to introduce, as I said earlier, a new addition to the sessions we've been doing over the last 6 years. Given the prominence of ChatGPT, of which is incantation of or instantiation of generative AI, generative artificial intelligence, I thought it'd be important to ensure the public have an opportunity to understand and appreciate what this is. It's not going to be a lot of time, but this will be the first piece. As we do this next year for the 8th annual, I expect we'll expand it out a little bit more, or maybe we'll have a separate session on artificial intelligence. With that said, let me introduce Nazanin Almadhi Daryakanar, as I indicate, the biomedical engineering PhD candidate student from Brown University. And so I hope I did you name service. I'm sure I didn't. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Senator DiPalma and Congressman Langevin, for hosting this event. It's an honor and pleasure to be with you this evening. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? So as a person on the science side, I'm here to talk about AI, how it works, and how it makes cybersecurity challenges by giving a personal example. Who am I? I am a PhD student in biomedical engineering at Brown University. My research mainly focuses on scientific machine learning. I'm currently working on AI models for drug discovery, as well as predicting medical events like hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia for diabetic patients. I'm using AI for good. AI, in fact, is not new. You can see a timeline graphic from 1956 to present with notable milestone marked along the way. In 1956, the term artificial intelligence AI was officially coined, marking the birth of this field. This marked the beginning of the first wave of AI. Shortly after, the Dartmouth Summer Project took place, which is considered the first AI workshop. Researchers, including John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky, gathered to explore the possibilities of creating intelligent machines. However, the initial enthusiasm was met with limitation in computing power and technology, leading to what is now known as the first and second AI winters. Progress in AI research slowed down due to the challenges in building rule-based models and systems. In the early 1990s, which is shown in this picture as 1993, a pivotal moment occurred with the introduction of GPUs by NVIDIA. GPUs are graphics processing units, were initially designed for rendering graphics, but were quickly repurposed for AI due to their parallel processing capabilities. This marked the beginning of the second wave of AI. Researchers could now work with vast datasets and train complex models more efficiently. The third wave of AI, which began in the late 2070s, is characterized by generative AI. The emergence of transformers revolutionized natural language processing and various other AI tasks. This technology allows machines to generate creative content such as art, music, and even human-like text. In 2022, OpenAI made significant strides in generative AI with the introduction of new models like GPT 3.5, capable of understanding and generating human-like texts. We've all heard of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. But understanding the distinction between these terms is essential, as they each play unique roles in shaping our digital world. Artificial intelligence, AI, is an umbrella term for any theory, computer system, or software that is developed to allow machines to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. The virtual assistant software on your smartphone is an example of artificial intelligence. The second circle is machine learning, which is a field that develops and uses algorithms and statistical models to allow computer systems to learn and adapt without needing to follow a specific instruction. Asking the GPS on your phone to calculate the estimated time of arrival to your next destination is an example of machine learning playing out in your everyday life. Deep learning is defined as a machine learning technique that teaches the computer to learn from the data that is inspired by humans. It uses artificial neural networks to model and solve complex tasks. Deep learning has been particularly successful in tasks like imaging and speech recognition. The innermost circle is generative AI, which is a type of AI system capable of generating text, images, or other media in response to prompts. Here you can see how generative AI works. What does AI need? What AI needs is a vast data set, which we provide the generative AI with by posting content on our social media accounts, such as Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. By studying the dataset, the generative AI model would be able to comprehend patterns, structures, or data relationships. And by that comprehension, it would be able to recognize patterns and breaking down information. The next step is evaluation to meet set standards. It means that if you show a picture of cat and dog to your generative AI model, it would be able to recognize which one is cat and which one is dog. And by that information and knowledge, the generative AI model would be able to synthesize information. It means that it is able to generate new content in the format of videos, text, images, and audios. Industries are currently using generative AI in a variety of ways. Example of current applications across different fields include healthcare and scientific, research, media and entertainment, automotive industry, education, government, climate science. In 2018, Christie's made history by selling an artwork created by a generative AI model for $432,500. The piece, titled Portrait of Edmond Bellamy, is a depiction of a plump gentleman, possibly French, possibly a clergyman. It is signed at the bottom right with a function, which is part of the code that produced it. This achievement marked a significant step in the convergence of art and artificial intelligence. We can see another application of generative AI. Through generative AI, we can turn an ordinary image into an extraordinary created inspired by the world of animated characters. As an example, I submitted my own photo to a generative AI system and provided the text Shrek's wife. what you will see is the AI's interpretation of how I would look as a character in the Pixar universe, inspired by the iconic character Fiona from the Shrek series. This technology can take any text input and generate a corresponding image. I am a biomedical engineering researcher, so I am interested in AI applications in healthcare. As it is shown here, you can see top generative AI use cases in healthcare, such as drug discovery, because the generative AI can accelerate drug discovery by generating potential drug molecules. It can create virtual compounds for in silico testing. And the other application is in disease diagnosis. It can detect lung cancer from a CT scan. And the other application are medical chatbots, patient care, medical imaging, medical research, and personalized treatment plans. Here you can see another application of generative AI in medical imaging. In this application, we give the image on the left to AI, and the generative AI model generates the image on the right with more information about the brain tissue which is affected by the tumor. I have talked about the benefits of AI in research, industry, and healthcare so far, but there are a number of examples of when AI goes wrong or when it is misused. Actually, it is a double-edged sword. The National Security Agency and U.S. federal agency partners have issued new advice on a synthetic media threat known as deepfake on September 12, 2023. You can see this is a new press release. This emerging threat could present a cybersecurity challenge for national security systems, the Department of Defense, and the DIB organization. If you are curious what deepfake means, the term deepfake refers to multimedia that has either been synthetically created or manipulated using some form of artificial intelligence technology. Here I have a personal example of phishing attack. Because generative AI is so powerful, it can reduce the amount of time it takes to create handcrafted, personalized email to a list of people from a few days to just minutes. Phishers can use generative AI to send personalized text messages that appear highly convincing. This example shows you a scammer claims to be my friend's sister, Ladan's sister, using an AI-generated name, which is shown as Lily. And the scammer is claiming that she is a financial advisor. It means that if I gave her a call back, she needs my personal information for the financial planning. It is an example of AI-generated text. As I was cautious and didn't respond, the AI escalated by leaving voicemail with the same accent as my friend's and similar voice to her because it is an AI-generated audio. I will play the audio.
Hi, Nazanin Jan. This is Lale. I'm Lalen's sister. If you can give me a call back at 573.
The voice message continued the scenario, asking for a callback, often about financial matters. But what does make it weird? Different area code. The number that I received the text message and the voicemail from has different area code and different AI-generated name. In the text message, the scammer is claiming that her name is Lily, Ladan's sister, and in the voicemail, the scammer is claiming that her name is Lale, Ladan's sister. So the generative AI model will give you different names by different prompts. So as I conclude, safe AI is better AI for everyone. Awareness is the primary defense against falling victim to such deceptive AI-driven tactics. Be cautious when receiving unwanted messages, especially if they request personal or sensitive information. Always verify the identity of the sender through trusted channels before responding to requests for personal information. I say catching up to the pace of AI technology may be a challenge, but we must run faster, adapt smarter, and ensure that AI serves as a tool for our benefit, not a mystery we cannot unravel. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my presentation. And I am very happy to be here, part of this program.
Zanan, thank you very much. Much appreciated. We're glad you're studying what you're studying at Brown. And I think what folks want to take away from it, it is here to stay. It can be extremely helpful. Artificial intelligence in many forms and shapes and sizes. We also have to be careful of the negative side of it, but it's not going to go away. We're not going to preclude it from being out there and being used. Unlike everything else, we have to ensure that it's not misused for various nefarious reasons that are inappropriate and not needed. So thank you very much for all you've done and all you will do. As I said earlier, and as Ben indicated or has going across the bottom of the screen, if you have any questions that you want to ask, please put them there. I'm going to do a quick wrap up here, and I think we've had very few questions, so we will probably end sooner than later. I do want to thank folks for joining today. I'll summarize again. As Congressman Langevin said, as we had for those of us that are of my age and maybe a little bit younger, but mostly older, about Smokey the Bear campaign with regards to protecting the forest from fires, etc. It's something that needs to happen. It's something we need to do every day. Like it is taking care of your physical health and things you do every day to take care of your physical health and physical hygiene, cyber hygiene must be practiced each and every day. And it's the little things that happen that can cause great impact and great costs to yourself, the organization, your family, and where you might work as well. I want to thank all of our presenters tonight. Honorable James Langevin, the Distinguished Chair at Rhode Island College Institute for Cybersecurity and Emerging Technologies. Nathan Lauro, the Rhode Island CISO, our Chief Information Security Officer, that addressed us with regards to enhancing personal cyber hygiene in a digital age. And Nazanin Almadhi Dayakanar, I hope I got that right again, by the biomedical student at Brown University, PhD candidate, and the work that she's doing and has done and will be doing with regards to demystifying AI. I'm looking forward to obviously connecting with these folks more. I'm sure we will be hearing more about the work of Congressman Langevin and the Cyber Institute at Rhode Island College, the work of Nathan Lauro as our CISO, and the excellent doctoral work that Nazanin will be doing over her next N number of years, hopefully less than more, as she works to get her PhD at Brown. I see that we do not have any more comments, any more questions. So with that, folks, thank you very much. And once again, please practice cyber safe habits. Thank you and have a good night.